Well, I figured I'd show how we water our pigs for the winter months. So we just have the trough, big steel trough in the pasture that we fill up. We got to haul water from the top of the yard. Unfortunately, we don't have water down here yet. But so we fill up this trough about every 2 days in the winter. We keep it thawed out with just a floating trough heater from PV Mart. The pigs don't ever bother it. Actually, they've never pulled it out unless the trough's empty. Then they'll piss around with it, but other than that, they let her float and keep it thawed out. So we fill it every 2 days. We steal water out of it on the day we don't haul water to fill up the pens, whatever we have penned up. This time of year, we pretty much got to bring the tank down every day though, because there's sows that are locked up. And then in those pens, we just have plastic troughs that we fill with water. And you got to break the ice out every day and fill it back up. But soon, those will be over, those days, and we run a hose from up top of the yard, and we got automatic water nipples in all the pens except for where we farrow in the sheds. We don't. I used to, but those nipples do get stuck open, and then you come down to a whole flooded pen and everybody's wet and unhappy. So what I've done in there is just a 5-gallon pail with a water nipple on it. So if the nipple does leak, it's only a pail of water and not hours of water. But seems to work okay. Yeah, ultimately, if we had a hydrant down here to fill this thing up, would be way better than having to haul water all the time and start a truck all winter long. But someday. And while we're down here by the water, I'll show you the electric fence that we use. The pigs stay in this all year round, the sows do, and all we use is a chunk of rebar with the insulator on it. And during the winter months, we don't even actually have the fencer on because you're not going to really get a shock anyways. You could run a second line and do it that way, but the pigs never seem to bother it. You have it run for a good part of the summer and get them zapped a bit, and they respect it. The only issue we ever have is when you're putting like new pigs, like feeder pigs or anything like that in, then you got to make sure your fence is zapping good. But the old sows, they don't even go anywhere near it. Half the time the fence is covered in snow and they won't cross it. They remember where it is and they don't like getting shocked. So it's worked pretty good for us. So yeah, these are the pails that we use on the pig crates. So I know there's other ways to do it, but this works really good. Is we just get a nice pail and you get this, it's a bulkhead fitting, and you cut your hole and there's a nut on the other side and you screw it in there and it's got a seal. It seals and you get it the right size for your nipple. And yeah, it works good. They'll pretty much drink it. You know, you got to keep it pretty full so that there's the pressure there, but even when there's a quarter left, the water will still come out, but there'll always be some left in the bottom that you'll have to rinse out. Like we just have them. Some of them I just have tied on. The sows have started to figure out how to mess around when they get bored, or when they're going to farrow and they start wrecking everything. So I've put a plate and I've bolted them on here on some of the other crates in the other shed. And then it's solid and then they can't move it around and spill it and wreck it and everything else. But yeah, it works pretty good. Like I said, it's better than we used to have nipples just plumbed in, and you know, if that nipple ever got stuck open, everything's flooded in here, and we're not always here. We both work off farm, so we come home after work and there's just water everywhere. So I guess I should say also that the bulkhead fitting, we always get them at the old PV Mart. And all the nipples, we used to get them at like Cowtown and stuff like that, but we found you can get the cheap ones from Amazon, and honestly they're basically just as good. They're a pretty simple thing. All it is a little O-ring that usually goes, so you can either go to Princess Auto or Peve Mart again and find a little O-ring to replace them and keep them going. So she's having her babies. There's 10, I think, right now. There was two came out dead. I don't know if she's quite done yet. There's a little bit, but there's this little itty bitty runt. He's just tiny. He got up and sucked already, so we'll see. I had to move 2 of the sows into the green shed. Well, it's starting to fill up in the green shed. There's one more pen at the end that we're gonna have to clean up and get ready for a sow today, because there's 2 in the pen outside that need to be locked up. So there's 2 in the white shed, 2 in the red shed, 1 outside, and there'll be 4 in here. So yeah. Just moved her. Oh, little guys are getting used to the fence still. Think they can go through it. Oh, and he can. Oh, that's actually this sow's baby. That's why he was going so crazy. The little runt from her. So these sows were both bred to our Hereford boar, Mac, the boar that's not here right now. And these ones were most likely bred to Chocolate, the big dumb idiot that's out there. They're a little excited, running around, something new. And she's just digging. She's very destructive. Little guys just jumping around everywhere. So we do corner off a corner for their heat lamps, so they have a safe place to go. Plus it saves on heat lamps, because we've done it before with no thing where the heat lamp is, and the sows just end up wrecking the heat lamps, and obviously risk of fire when they're messing around. So the bull-fed babies, or one of them anyways. That guy comes sometimes. Just about time to let these ladies out into the pasture. They should all be bred. We actually tagged them yesterday. You can kind of see it in her ear there. I didn't video it because it kind of just happened. We were able to actually just tag them in the pen here. We were gonna run them through the chute, and when they were done, put them in the trailer, and then when we were all done, just push them back through. But they weren't too bad. We were just able to give them some chop and snap them into their ears. We usually don't tag them. It's just these 5 are basically identical. There's 1 or 2 that have floppy ears, and you could kind of tell them away that way, but we figured we'd just throw some tags in so that we can keep track of them and be able to see which one is a good moms and bad moms, because they're all going to be new moms. So, and usually the tags don't actually stay in. These are a little older, so they might. We've tagged them when they're younger, and they always end up chewing them out or falling out, but they'll get to go into the pasture here right away, because they won't be due till July probably. And then we got there's 4 or 5 little gilts in there that we might tag because they're pretty identical. Might expose them to the boar next month, or maybe this month, I don't know. See how big they are, maybe run them across the scale, but they're pretty close probably to being large enough for old Lucky here. He should do the job. Try to get some videos if we do tag the red ones in that pen, just to show basically how Western we do it. But like I said, we don't usually tag too many pigs because there's really no need, but when they're all identical, you got to be able to keep track somehow. If there's, you know, one has trouble giving birth and you don't want to breed it again, you want to make sure it doesn't get bred again. Obviously, unless you got to put your silly little pig trace government tag in there that they need when they go to the butcher. But we don't sell too many pigs that go to the butcher like we do weanlings, and so we don't need too many of the tags, and we don't sell full grown sows or boars, but we do have the tags if we do, and if they gotta go there. We do have a few customers that buy butcher pigs from us, so then they need to be tagged to go there. All right, guys, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video. See ya. Hey, give you some head scratches.